All right, good evening, folks. You all ready for this? Monday Night Live can teach you how to do the cover page. Petition of Remonstrance here. Let me get to my phone here for just a second. All right. I can share that. Come on. It's going to let me share or no? Okay. All right. Now that I got that shared on my own profile, now I can pull it up on my phone and try to watch comments. All right. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Rosa. Nope, I decided not to do this privately. There were so many people that wanted to get on this. I thought, well, screw it. I'll just do it as a Monday Night Live show. That way it's in the archive and in the episodes, and everybody can get it, right? Way to go, John. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Shannon. Brenda. Hannah Johnson out there. Let's see what we got. All right. Let's see, I should have. All righty. Now I have I am going to pull up my cover page and show you. Yes, I think I am. Hi, Robert. Hi, Frank. Hey, Chad. Amanda. Yep. Sure, there's so many scams out there, it's not even funny. Oh, I know. Things are starting to crumble out there. All right, did we get that? Here we go. Okay. I'm just going to do the whole screen. That way Y'all can see that. All right, why is it not showing up? Okay. All right. So here's your basic cover page right here, right? Not a whole lot to it, but there is quite a bit here. Believe it or not, this says an awful lot. Okay. So the first thing here is in the 2019, what year? Congressional session of the state of whatever state. Okay. So here we go. Let's do North Carolina. See how easy that was? I just changed states. And actually, this should be a petition of remonstrance. My bad. Now, when we're talking about here, you're talking about this is the address. You're addressing this document. It's like you address any other document in the 4th Judicial District of the United, of the state of Idaho, blah, blah, blah. This is, who it's to. And then what is it? What's the name of the document? Then under what rules of procedure, right? So what you got to do is you have to look for the rules of procedure regarding a petition. So we'll go over here. And I already have, I believe, I saved it. I may not have. Yep, I think it did. There it is. All right, so here's the House. 3rd edition. This is 2019's General Assembly of North Carolina. So when I get to this page, I can hit the Control F for find. It'll bring up this little fancy box up here, right? And I'm going to punch in petition. And look what pops up. 1 out of 10. So notice that it says under Rule 5, order of business of the day. This is where we're having a problem with John Gentry's petition out there, or at least in my mind, is a problem. Rules of procedure being trespassed, not being followed. After the approval of the journal of the preceding day, except by leave of the House shall proceed to business, right? They're a corporation. They're operating the business of the state, the people's business. In the following order: the receiving of petitions, memorials, papers addressed to the General Assembly or to the House, message from the governor, ratification of bills, first reading and reference committee bills and resolutions. Let's see. So this one, on the calendar of the business for the day, they're supposed to receive that stuff. It's pretty amazing. Let's see. But that's not the one I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is the actual petition itself. So I'm going to hit number 2. There we go. Rule 33, papers addressed to the House. Petitions, memorials, and other papers addressed to the House shall be presented by the Speaker. A brief statement on the contents thereof may be made orally by the introducer before reference to a committee, but such papers shall not be debated or decided on the day of their first being read unless the House shall direct otherwise. Imagine that. Reading means reading. It must be read. So, let's see. Rule 33, we can take that. Come under here and actually see. This is General Assembly rules, right? That's what it says up here at the top. Of course, it also says right here, General Assembly of North Carolina. General Assembly rules. What was that? Rule 35? Oops. Rule 33. So we'll come back over here. And we'll change this to General Assembly rules. Back up and we'll go 33. Let's go back over here. Rule 39, that's a discharge of petition. Well, we don't want a discharge. I think that's it, because the rest of these are all inside 39. That's it. And technically speaking, can go with Rule 5 and Rule 33. So then I'll take that. We'll come back over here. We'll do Rule 5 and Rule 33. There you have it. Now you're well on your way. You have your name here and who it's versus, right? So you could go after the individual that caused all this as the leader of the conspiracy, right, to deprive you of rights. You could go against the whole state. Whoever you want to go after, whatever it is you're doing, right? If you're going after bad policy, then it's to the state. If you're going after a certain part of the state or a particular private corporation, when I mean by private, I mean not incorporated into the state, right? Not part of the state where they receive funds. I get that there are corporations out there that are privately owned, but are still public corporations because they've incorporated themselves into the corporate charter and they receive payments from the Department of Treasury. That's what makes that a public corporation. A private corporation does not receive funds from the Department of Treasury, and it is not part of the government. Now, private corporations are still incorporated into the state, right? That's called a business license. That business license is the terms and conditions of the contract, right? To operate your business inside the borders of a state. You incorporate yourself into the Constitution as even though you're a privately owned corporation, you still incorporate yourself into the state. Now, when it comes to us out here, we can do private contracts in between one party and another, or up to multiple parties, right? And they're the only parties to the contract. So that's a private contract, which has nothing to do with government. So do we ever need to seek permission to exercise a right? No, because that's what a license is, seeking permission to do a thing that otherwise would be illegal. If it's lawful to do, because that would be my right, full of law, I have every right to act in that manner without seeking permission. I don't need to seek permission from my fellow man or my neighbor, because that's what we are here. Government is of the people, by the people, and for the people, right? We don't have dictators, we don't have kings and queens and rulers or anything like that here. So, Idaho Constitution, you're going to go after the Constitution. Well, what's in Article 1? That's your Bill of Rights in your state. That's your state constitution, Article 1. Every single state has a Bill of Rights. So you're going to look at your Bill of Rights. And that's actually another one that I have saved. I actually was looking at this the other day, and I'm doing this for somebody and everybody who is in North Carolina. Now you're going to have to change some of this stuff, right? Depending on what it is you're going after. So this is Article 1, North Carolina Constitution, Declaration of Rights, Bill of Rights. It consists of 37 sections. Okay. So you want to go through here and you go, I usually just go like this, take my pen and paper, and I go through each one of them and I go, yep, that one, yep, that one, yep, that one, yep, that one, every single one of them that applies, especially your right to petition. That one specifically will need to be in there. I like the all political power. But here, look at number 2. All political power is vested in and derived from the people. All government of right originates from the people, is founded upon their will only, and is instituted solely for the good of the whole. Notice it says sovereignty of the people. Imagine that. The people are sovereign, not government. Because the people make up the state, the status of the people in society. And then it's a country. Each state is a country. Not the United States of America. That's not the country. That's the nation called America. America is the nation, and each individual sovereign state, the people, is a country. We have 50 countries. Actually, we have more than 50, but 50 that have joined the Union, right? All the rest of those are still territories belonging to the United States. So, and I can show you this clear back in the day, 1776, in constitutions that were written back then, the state of blah, blah, blah is the country. So this is where I kind of have a problem with people saying, oh, I love my country. Yeah, I get you love your particular country, but I'm talking about the nation. The nation is called America. And this is why reason why we need to comprehend this is because we have the law of this nation, right? And then you have the law of what? Of your state, your country. And this is why we have individual constitutions. Because if we were all just one country, we would only have one constitution. But we have a very unique setup here, right? We have the Constitution for all of these states that have united. That's united as in an action, not a noun where it can be capitalized. So we've all united. We've joined the union, that more perfect union, right? And we join what union? The Union of America, the nation. So from there, that's just how it works. We have state, country, and nation. The state is the status of the people. This is the status of the people in North Carolina, right? This is the status of the sovereignty of the people in society, not status, status, statehood, right? This is the how society in North Carolina wants to live. Now, we also have Article 4, Section 1, full faith and credit, because that's that part of, in order to form a more perfect union. All of these right here and Bills of Rights, because Bills of Rights, especially those merely declaratory of the what? Common law, the law that's common to all. And like Madison said, there's too many rights to try to enumerate. So think about that for a minute. If there's way too many rights to try and enumerate in a Bill of Rights, that's why they fall under the common law, the unwritten law, lex non scripta. Well, it's not American national, it's American state national. It's the country you were born in. That's your nationality. That's where you come from. So you want to write all these ones down here. So we'll go, let's see, equal rights of persons. We hold to be self-evident that all persons are created equal. That would be wrong, because unless, there is one little tiny part of that persons, right? Calls it a human being, which if you look up human, that's a monster. So they play with words, because notice it says we hold it to be self-evident. That's coming from the Declaration of Independence, that all men are created equal. Persons are artificial beings in the intangible, not the tangible. So for all intents and purposes, it's okay, because the Declaration of Independence already covers this. But that they are endowed by their creator. Persons are. Corporations are endowed by their creator. Okay. Notice it's capital C, so we're talking about God here. With certain inalienable rights. No, those are unalienable rights. Can't place a lien upon those rights. They can't be bought, sold, traded, given away, or taken away except upon civil death. Okay? That among these are life, liberty, and the enjoyment of the fruits of their own labor and the pursuit of happiness. Imagine that. Fruits of your own labor. You're entitled to the entire contents of the fruits of your labor. So when you do an employment contract with somebody, why are they taking taxes out? Well, because you filled that contract out with the IRS and told them to take it out of there. So stop filling those contracts out. Every time you file a tax return, that's contract. You're openly admitting that you owe this and you're voluntarily paying this, because there is no law that says we have to pay taxes. In fact, the law says we don't have to pay taxes. Taxes are supposed to be derived from profit, income on corporations. And where? Acting in interstate and foreign commerce at the ports, right? At the ports, airports, and the ports of entry. Anything being imported is to be taxed, not the people. Shall be no impost or direct tax laid upon the people. Okay, all political powers vested in. Imagine that. All the people. All of it. Not 90%, not 80%, not 70%. all of it, right? Because we, the people, establish justice, not government, right? We, the people, ensure domestic tranquility, not government. That is not what we instituted government for. Those are the clear limitations right in the frickin' preamble of the Constitution of the United States of America. Right? We, the people, provide for the common defense, not government. Right? That's why we're not supposed to have a police force. The unorganized militia provide for the common defense. The people provide for the common defense, such as myself, teaching people the law, and that right to the assistance of counsel. It does not say you have the right to an attorney. Nowhere in law does it say that we have a right to an attorney, because attorneys are members of the bar. They're not even supposed to exist in our form of government in this nation at all. All right, let's get back to this. So, being that you have all these rights, so we'll go with 1 and 2, because you have all political power. Internal government of the state. The people of this state have the inherent, sole, and exclusive right of regulating the internal government and police thereof. Imagine, what is police doing in the Bill of Rights? I'm supposed to have a police force. All right? Supposed to have a militia. That's it. That's why the Second Amendment says, being necessary for the security of a free state. A militia being necessary for the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms to provide for the common defense shall not be infringed. There is no authority granted to government over our right to keep and bear arms. None. Zero. That means what? Mason's Manual of Legislative Procedure. What does that say? The very first principle, right? Principles here. The group must have the authority to take the action it purports to take. Where in that shall not be infringed in a Bill of Rights that's merely declaratory of the common law, does it say Congress shall have the authority to make legislation regarding this subject matter? It doesn't. Nowhere in the Bill of Rights did we give any authority to government. In fact, the very first words of the Bill of Rights, in the first article the first, or what some people call the amendment, First Amendment, it says Congress shall make no law. Why do you think they started out with that? Those words right there. Congress shall make no law. Because Congress doesn't have the power to make law. Hate to burst your bubbles out there, folks. You have the power to make public law. Right? Right? You have the right, you have the power to create corporations, to allow corporations to incorporate themselves, and to regulate those corporations, such as, I don't know, the governor. That's corporate body politic, right? Each one of those departments, and in my Constitution it says limited to 20 agencies. So my state, my country, has usurped the corporate charter. That's the Constitution. Jurisdiction must be given. It cannot be assumed. Groups sometimes assume powers they do not have. There it is. Right there. They don't have subject matter jurisdiction over the right to keep and bear arms. They can only regulate, right, especially federal government, war and commerce. That's it. Those two subject matters. And clearly the state doesn't have anything. Legislature has no authority over that. So I got 1 and 2 here. Let's see. Shall be exercised in pursuance of law and consistently with the Constitution of the United States. Imagine that. In the Bill of Rights, every state has this same clause. Why? Because they have to be accepted into the Union, right? You don't get to just join the Union, sign up, and away you go. No. We have the supreme law of the land that you have to go by. That's the supreme form of government, the supreme due process of law. Because at that particular time, what? We only had 13 states, right? So in the Constitution, it provides for Article 4, Section 3, for states to join the Union. And they must be accepted into the Union so long as their Constitution, the status of the people in that territory, wishing to form their own country, right, is in compliance with the Supreme Corporate Charter, Constitution of the United States of America. The state shall ever remain a member of the American Union. The people there, the people thereof are part of the American nation. That should be capital N. There is no right on the part of the state to secede. Wow, that's right. You can't succeed. Why? Secede. And I'll tell you why you can't secede. Because that territory that you're sitting on was belonged to the United States of America. Okay? And you drew lines and said, yep, make this our border. And the people inside this border established their status in society and wish to join the Union. Ah. Okay. So if you think a state, country, can secede from the Union, you're sadly mistaken. Okay? Go ahead. Secede from the Union. We'll take the territory back then. And by the way, you just lost your corporate charter, and now you're back under the Constitution of the United States of America. You no longer have state government. You're no longer self-governed. We'll take care of that, and we'll govern for you, just like Guam. You don't get to take the land and run. Sorry, don't work that way. Let's see. From whatever source, upon whatever pretext, to dissolve this union or to sever this nation. That's right. Shall be resisted with the whole power of the state, the people. Because all the power resides in the people. Government is a figment of the imagination. It's an instrument. This is what government looks like. There you go. There's government on a piece of paper. Technically speaking, government is in the intangible. You can't lay a finger on it. Everyone else is just a servant. Again, we don't have kings and queens and rulers here. Every citizen of the state owes paramount allegiance to the Constitution and government of the United States, and no law or ordinance of the state in contribution or subversion thereof can have any binding force. Imagine that. The legislative, executive, and supreme judicial powers of the state government shall be forever separate and distinct from each other. And that, I mean, that's like common sense, right? That's the way the supreme law of the land is. All power of suspending laws or execution of laws by any authority without the consent of the representatives of the people is injurious to their rights and shall not be exercised. Oh, wow. So there is no power of suspending the law, our rights, by any authority. And not only that, our representatives of the people cannot give their consent to suspend our rights. That's not within their scope and authority of their emolument. Sorry. Natural rights and civil rights have nothing to do with the establishment, support, or management of government. That's not a power delegated to you, folks. Not even the people can alter the fundamental law. So anyone who attempts to do that, it's a capital offense. All right. People of the state shall not be taxed, or made subject to the payment of any impost or duty, there it is, without the consent of themselves or the representatives in General Assembly freely given. But there it is. The people of the state shall not be taxed or made subject to the payment of any impost or duty. What did I just tell you? There it is. Not even knowing that this was here, there it is. The people of this state shall not be taxed or made subject to the payment of any impost or duty. That's if it's just the people. Let's say you went overseas and you're bringing stuff home. You can't be taxed for that. You can't be charged, be made subject for a payment for bringing that in because you're not acting in interstate and foreign commerce. If you've got a corporation and you're buying things in mass quantity from a foreign nation, right? Then yes, you have to pay the imposts and duties at the port of entry. That's how it's supposed to be done. Those are the taxes that were authorized by the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, to support the nation, to pay the debts of the nation. That's where our taxes are supposed to come from. Right there, in plain English. For redress of grievances and for amending and strengthening the laws, elections shall be often held. So, Section 9, for redress of grievances. Okay. I'll put that one down. Boy, here's a good one. All elections shall be free. Free of what? Free of corruption, free of everything? As political rights and privileges are not dependent upon or modified by property, no property qualification shall affect the right to vote or hold office. Right of assembly and petition. The people have a right to assemble together to consult for their common good, to instruct their representatives, and here it is, Binky Brant, and to apply to the General Assembly for redress of grievances. But secret political societies are dangerous to the liberties of a free people and shall not be tolerated. We're not supposed to have secret political societies. We're all supposed to be Americans. So Section 9 and Section 12 is your North Carolina's right to petition. Notice it is a right. We don't seek permission to exercise the right. So the wording here where it says apply to the General Assembly, well, wait a minute. I don't seek permission to instruct my representatives because that's what the right says. This is a right retained by the people. Fully comprehend what this Bill of Rights is. This is the status of the people in society. This is the law for North Carolina. It might be incorporated into the Constitution itself, but that's trickery, right? Bills of rights are normally separate from the Constitution, not part of. Why? Because this is the law, and the Constitution is nothing but the government. That instrument, that's the instrument of government. It's a piece of paper. Again, government doesn't exist. It is a figment of the imagination. Those figments are put on paper to create the government for the people. By the people, for the people. So when we talk about the law, that's the law. Declaration of Rights, rights as law. A person has a natural and inalienable right to worship Almighty God according to the dictates of their conscience. Dictates of their own conscience is Constitution. That's what a Constitution is. The internal dictates of the mind. We all have our own Constitution. This is the Constitution for North Carolina. The people who wish to serve the people. Each one of us has our, because we're self-governed, we have our own Constitution, our own internal dictates of the mind. Pretty crazy, huh? There's some word salad for you, except for it's not word salad, it's the truth. That's not SMU. Freedom of speech and the press are two of the great bulwarks of liberty, and therefore shall never be restrained. But every person shall be held responsible for their abuse. There you go, John. There's your freedom of speech and press, or anybody out there, Health Freedom Idaho gals down there at the Capitol, and you were told you couldn't record, and then he came back and apologized and corrected himself, right? Because this is a right retained by the people. Naturally, we have the right to speak. Naturally, we have the right to use whatever devices of the times of the day. Now that we have recording devices, we can record their crimes, right? Document it, evidence it, and then put it out in the media, because we have the right of media, and that, again, rights cannot be converted into a privilege. Licensed, seeking permission, right? You cannot convert that right into a privilege, license it, and attach a fee to it, and tell us that we have to seek permission to exercise a right. Kick rocks. Get out of here with that crap. We don't seek permission from the neighbor to exercise a right. Now, wait a minute. The people have a right to the privilege of education. Really? Rights and privileges are two totally different things. And it is the duty of the state to guard and maintain that right. It is, huh? I didn't know it was the duty of the state to provide education to begin with. I've not found anywhere where that power was delegated. You? Anybody else find that power out there delegated? I've never found it. Not lawfully. Remember, back in the day, school was the church, and the parents decided whether or not they were sending the kids to school or not. Remember? School during the week and church on Sundays. Because the church and the schoolhouse was one and the same. And that would be the privilege of sending your children to the church that you belong to. Back in the day, there was one church in town. You only had one. So for each town, they had one church. its little city, town. So we've kind of strayed away from how fundamentally this nation is supposed to be, but I digress. Retrospective laws, punishing acts committed before the existence of such laws, and by them only declared criminal, are oppressive, unjust, and incompatible with liberty, and therefore no ex post facto law shall be enacted. No law taxing retrospectively sales, purchases, or other acts previously done shall be enacted. There's one part here that's not very clear. No ex post facto law shall be enacted. If this is a Bill of Rights laying down the law, this goes right to natural rights and civil rights have nothing to do with the establishment, support, or management of government. That's not what we instituted government for, to make law regarding our rights and converting them into privileges and then licensing them, telling us that we have to seek permission from their artificially created corporations, agencies, and agents, right? Sending out hither swarms of officers eating out our substance. Not supposed to exist in our form of government. There is no power to make law after we laid down the law. That's not what we instituted government for. We instituted government to protect and secure our rights from all things foreign. Foreign to the people, foreign to the state, and foreign to the nation. That's what we instituted government for. Nothing more, nothing less. Slavery and involuntary servitude. Slavery is forever prohibited. Involuntary servitude. This is human trafficking, folks. Except as a punishment for crime whereof the parties have been adjudged guilty is forever prohibited. Well, except for fraud, maybe, in that sense. But I guess we still have it on the books where you could sentence people to hard labor in prison in certain states. So yeah, there you go. Slavery and involuntary servitude. That's part B of human trafficking. The debt slave, peonage, child support. That's involuntary servitude. Oh, but we have this guidance document from the Department of Health and Welfare, one of the agencies of the executive branch. Really? What was that up here? Oh, when was that one? Right here. The legislative, executive, and supreme judicial powers of the state government shall be forever separate and distinct from each other. What the hell is the executive branch doing trying to make law? Not only is it's not even the executive branch. We're talking about a department of the executive branch. And then within that department, we're talking about one agency. What is one agency out of one department, out of the executive branch doing? Making law. That's what Jeff Sessions did back in November of 2017, right? Prohibition on the use of guidance documents. Going from one branch of government to the other, trying to dictate law to one branch or the other from one other branch. That's a violation of separation of powers right there. Not supposed to do that. So you anybody out there fighting any kind of things like that, especially like child support, got that guidance document killer in there from Jeff Sessions. That's in Kirk's Law Corner, PDF format already ready for you. You want to fight child support? There you go. Because why? I don't know. Because that would be child support guidelines. And guidelines is a guidance document. Again, coming from deep down inside the executive branch, going over to the judicial branch, trying to tell the judicial branch what to do. We're trying to tell the people, right? Having the force and effect of law? No, I don't think so. That's what Jeff Sessions put the kibosh on. We did a breaking news video on that back in November of 17 when that first came out. Right? I was on top of all the stuff that was coming out. Now I pretty much got the idea of good concept of what's going on. Everything's already laid down. It's ready to go. It's coming. It is coming. Oh, let's see. Number 18. All courts shall be open. Every person for an injury done him by his lands, goods, person, or reputation shall have remedy by due course of law. And right and justice shall be administered without favor, denial, or delay. Supposed to be without sale, denial, or delay. That would be Magna Carta of 1215, Section 40. To no man will we sell, to no man will we deny nor defer rights or justice. That's where that comes from. In law, succession of law, as it was laid down in 1215 in the Magna Carta. Law of the land, equal protection of the laws. No person shall be taken, imprisoned, or deceased of his freehold. Go look that one up. You don't know what freehold is. Liberties or privileges or outlaw, that's land. Outlawed or exiled or in any manner deprived of his life, liberty, or property, but by the law of the land. What is law of the land? You're reading the law of the land right now. This declaration is the law of the land. So is the Constitution. And the Constitution is nothing but due process of law. That's what law of the land means. No person shall be denied the equal protection of the laws, nor shall any person be subjected to discrimination by the state because of race, color, religion, or national origin. Imagine that. So this is due process of law. Law of the land, due process of law, due course of law. They're synonymous. They all mean the same thing. They're interchangeable. When you say law of the land, you can say due process of law. You can say due course of law. Same thing. They all mean the same thing. The Constitution part, creating the form of government, is nothing but the processes for bringing things into being. The governor, the Congress of the state, the legislature, right? The House and the Senate. That's all in the supreme law of the land, because that's our form of government, a Republican form of government. Article 4, Section 4. Guaranteed Republican form of government. That's what's in the Constitution. That's the Republican form of government. That document. That's why when a territory, the people of a territory want to come and join the Union, they actually send out representatives from the United States of America out to the territory and say, okay, we're setting up shop for you. This is how it works. This is the model. This is the form. This is how it is, pursuant to the law of the supreme law of the land. This is our format. You got the head executive, right? That would be the governor or the president. And you got Congress, you got the House of Representatives and the Senate. Look familiar. They're identical. They're mirror image. Everything is a mirror image of the supreme law of the land. Because again, that's the form of government. They're all supposed to be exactly the same. That's why the Constitution part is nothing but process. And this is why I'm teaching you this process right here. Because we go back to number 12 and number 9. Let's do number 9 again. For redress of grievances and for amending and strengthening the laws, elections shall be often held. The people have the right to assemble together to consult for their common good, to instruct their representatives, and to apply, petition. We'll just remove that word and we'll petition to the General Assembly for redress of grievances. This right here, does that say the judicial branch? No, it does not. It most certainly does not. It does not indicate that we go to the judicial branch for our grievances. It specifically in this one says the General Assembly, which is the legislature of the state. What's the confusion here? That does not say judicial branch. It's because we've been derelict in our own duties, folks. We haven't read this stuff, fully comprehended it. That's what I'm going to claim. I'm going to claim that I didn't fully comprehend what I read over and over and over again, because it didn't seem to matter to me when I read it. I just blew over it because I didn't care. But I sure care now, because this is the process that is due to your public servants from the Constitution. It's called impeachment, right? That's the social compact, the Constitution of North Carolina. That's the social compact that the people make with the public servants and with their fellow man. That if one of the people wants to serve the people, they have to have a contract of employment. That's to receive their emoluments, right? So you want to go to work at McDonald's, you have an employment contract with McDonald's. You act outside the terms and conditions of that employment contract, you're fired. So we, the people, need to follow the law of the land, follow due process of law, and impeach these bad actors who are in violation of their employment contract. That's why Title 18, subsection 643 is embezzlement. And under embezzlement in that code, it says emoluments, any advantage, profit, or gain received due to one's position of employment or holding public office or holding office. That's it right there. We can't pay these people to trespass the law. We can't pay these people to use our buildings as an emolument, right? And anything other than a lawful purposes. And that seat in government is a lawfully created, it better be a lawfully created emolument, or that in and of itself is an emoluments violation, an usurpation of power, capital felony treason. I know Chris likes to talk about that whole advantage stuff, but I'm pretty much fully grasped that whole advantage part. So let's say you got a sheriff who's buddy with somebody that you're going after and legitimately have grounds to sue them or whatever, and the sheriff decides to pull rank. It's like you do in the military, pulling rank, and using your position of authority, your employment or office as a sheriff, that's an elected official, you're using it as an advantage and going in and say, hey, don't mess with this guy. Don't let this guy win. Shut him down. That's using your position of employment or office as an advantage. Or, hey, I need to go here first. Well, who the hell are you? Well, I'm the sheriff. Great, you're a public servant. Why do you think that you're above the law? Why do you think you're better than the people? I thought servants were under the people, not above. Yeah, we got a clear distinction here. We got a very distinct problem. All right, so now you basically got an idea of what you got to do here, right? You got to read this stuff. You got to know what your rights are. If you don't know what your rights are, how in the heck are you going to defend them? If you don't know what the process is of the land that you live in, how in the heck are you going to defend them? Effectively defend them? You can't. Fundamentally, principally. If you don't know what your rights are and you don't know what the remedy in law is, you're never going to get anywhere. And there ain't nobody else out there that can do it for you. You have to do it. Attorneys aren't going to do it for you. In fact, if you understand now, comprehend what an attorney is, again, they're an officer of the court, the bar. They're members of the bar. The bar, the bar, the bar, the bar. Those frickin' courts you're being subjected to, those de facto kangaroo courts, are bar courts. Right? They're practicing their de facto color of law. They're kangaroo courts that deprive you of your rights. These are actual lawful terms. Right? Because this says it's a Black's Law Dictionary, not Black's Legal Dictionary. Talking about law, lawful, full of law, not legal, contracts. This here is law. Every person restrained of his liberty is entitled to a remedy to inquire into the lawfulness thereof. That doesn't say legalness, right? It says lawfulness. And to remove the restraint is if unlawful, and that remedy shall not be denied or delayed. The privilege of writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended, not even in cases of emergency. So, if every one of us that has any kind of deprivation of the right of liberty, you're automatically entitled to a remedy, right? A remedy to inquire into the lawfulness thereof under writ of habeas corpus. That is what writ of habeas corpus is for. Now, what they've done statutorily, because, well, that would be too fast. Nobody could make any money off of that if everybody used writ of habeas corpus into the legislature, because that's where you take your grievances. If you took your grievances under writ of habeas corpus to the legislature, and the legislature says, whoa, what's going on over there? That ain't lawful. I can't seem to find that here in the law. Where is that? Oh, let me take you over here to this code book, this book that we wrote. No, that's not law. Right? This is the law for the status of the people in society in the country of North Carolina. This is the law. Anything that comes in conflict with this right here that we're reading, all of this Bill of Rights for North Carolina, anything that comes in conflict with any of this in here is null and void from its inception. Its color of law, it's void for any effect, is fraud. And any man who takes any action under that fraud is culpable, becomes a co-conspirator in the deprivation of rights while acting under color of law, statute, rule of procedure, or ordinance. That's what Title 18, subsection 241 and 242 is about. Those people going out up there in disguise as a public servant, putting on these uniforms, claiming some sort of authority that they don't have, because no man is above the law. What I cannot do in my person, I cannot do through the agency of another. So always stop and ask yourself, can I do this? Whatever you're seeing happen, whatever's happening to you, turn it around and ask them, can I do this? Can I do this to you? Well, no, because you're not a police officer. Well, we don't have police officers. We have peace officers who are to maintain the peace and act once they're called upon. They have no lawful authority to act without being asked, right? Because that's what they are. They're agents of an agency, and agents can only act on behalf of. Well, they can't act on behalf of the corporation that they're working for, because corporations don't have standing in law to take any action against the people. In fact, they're subordinate to the people. And that's how you go in and revoke their business license for being in violation of the corporate charter. This is something we really need to learn here. You go into some sort of corporation that's incorporated itself into the state charter, which is also bound by the Supreme Charter, corporate charter, and they're depriving you of one of these rights, like, oh, you can't have guns in here. Oh, really? We don't allow corporations to operate their business inside this borders of this state that deprive fundamental rights. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go back to the legislature, and I'm going to grab your business license and say, here's your business license to seek. You're seeking permission to operate your business inside the borders of a state, and you're in violation of the corporate charter. I hereby revoke your business license. You're out of business. That's what I'm talking about. Shut the whole business down. You want to deprive people of natural rights? Yeah. The right to defend your life, your liberty, your property is a natural right. It comes from the law of nature. Naturally, fundamentally, we have the right to defend our life, our liberty, and our property with arms. Whatever it takes. Naturally, fundamentally, principally. That doesn't have anything to do with the establishment, support, or management of government. Nothing. We don't need government to dictate to anybody that we already have these rights or that we don't. No, wrong. It's not what we instituted government for. Again, you're fired. So 21, we're going to put that one down. 22, modes of prosecution. Except in misdemeanor cases initiated by the district court division. District court division can initiate what? I don't think so. No person shall be put to answer any criminal charge but by indictment, presentment, or impeachment. Uh-oh. There's impeachment. But impeachment, the sole power of impeachment's in the House and the Senate. But this is just modes of prosecution. Right? Answer any criminal charge but by indictment, presentment, or impeachment. But any person, when represented by counsel, may, under such regulations as the General Assembly shall prescribe, waive indictment in non-capital cases. Really? Sounds like a bill of attainder to me. Bills of pains and penalties. Sounds like somebody's trying to make law after the fact. Right? Not supposed to do that. In all criminal prosecutions, every person charged, it should be every man, charged with a crime has the right to be informed of the accusation and to confront the accusers and witnesses with other testimony and to have counsel. Probably should blow this up for you guys. Sorry. We'll make it bigger so everybody can see it. A little better anyways. Probably straining the heck out of your eyes over there. Oh, gotta go back up. There we go. Whoa. around 22. How did we miss 20? General warrants whereby any officer or other person may be commanded to search. Commanded. Is that right? They have to be, the executive branch must be commanded to do something. To search suspected places without evidence of the act committed. Uh-oh. General warrants whereby any officer or other person may be commanded to search suspected places without evidence of the act committed, or to seize any person or persons not named, whose offense is not particularly described and supported by evidence, are dangerous to liberty. I knew that's where it was going. And shall not be granted. So those capious warrants, unlawful. It's a general warrant whereby any officer or other person may be commanded by policy, right, to search suspected places without evidence of the act committed. Where's the evidence? Perfect example right there. I can't believe I skipped over it. We got to put number 20 in there. For all your CPS cases that come in and take your children, right there, clear as day. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's actually in the Virginia Declaration of Rights. The, that Declaration of Rights that was the theoretical foundation of all government, that would be part of the law of this nation, laying down the law of our ideology, our morals and principles, the theoretical foundation of all government. Happens to be in this book right here, and that's what it says. Theoretical foundation of all government. Because that was when June 12th, 1776, that's when we were in the Second Continental Congress laying down the law, creating the nation, creating the law of this nation. And that's why the Virginia Declaration of Rights is in the succession of law. Magna Carta, Virginia Declaration of Rights, into the Bill of Rights. And nowhere in between or after ex post facto law can be made. No law after those laws were laid down can be made. Cannot alter them. Right? You can provide further protections, and only the people can do that. But you cannot alter fundamentally the law, only to provide better protection. So we could cross out some words and reword it, but only the people can do that. Right? Of the territory of the state, your country, that's all political power. You have the power. We have the power to alter our Bill of Rights to make it say what we want, because that's our status in society. The servants don't have that authority. Sitting in that emolument, they do not have the authority to alter the Constitution. They do not have the authority to alter the fundamental law. It is a capital offense for anyone to do it. Those vested with power or authority, the punishment is to be doubled. That's a rule of law, maxim of law. So, number 20, that's a real darn good one out there in North Carolina. Yeah, I can't believe we skipped 20. How did I do that? They're back down to that modes of prosecution, right? Misdemeanor case in this district, no person shall be put to answer a criminal charge but by indictment, but any person when represented by counsel may under such regulations as the General Assembly shall prescribe. Really? Since when does the General Assembly do regulations? Weird. Waive indictment in non-capital offenses. You can't waive process. You cannot alter the fundamental law. This right here clearly violates the law. In all criminal prosecutions, every person charged with a crime has the right to be informed of the accident. Okay, we already did that one. Or started on it, right. Accusers, you have the right to confront your accusers and witnesses with other testimony, and to have counsel for defense counsel. Doesn't say attorney. And not be compelled to give self-incriminating evidence. That's right. I don't answer any questions. Kick rocks. You're supposed to already have. What? You're already supposed to have evidence of the act committed when you come to harass me. Oh, that's right. You're already supposed to have that evidence. I'm not going to answer your questions. Burden of proof is on the moving party. That's what probable cause of action, right? What right do you have to act in that manner, to take that action? Not probably, right? Angie, this is North Carolina's Constitution. Turn your phone sideways so you get a bigger picture. I know you won't be able to see the comments, but you'll be able to see the screen better. All right. Or to pay costs, jail fees, or necessary witness fees of the defense unless found guilty. That sounds like a whole bunch of human trafficking to me. Now, see, this would be wrong. Right of jury trial. We don't have a right to a jury trial. We have a right to a trial by a jury of our peers. It's not a jury trial where a jury sits over there and the judge still makes all the decisions. No. Trial by jury where we all get to make our own defenses and we're not deprived of that right through subversion of the law, color of rules of procedure. Well, you can't do that. You can't submit that evidence. Kick rocks, dude. You better sit back in your emolument where you belong. You step outside of that little box you've been put in, I'm going to bust your ass. No person shall be convicted of any crime but by the unanimous verdict of a jury in open court. I'm glad it says that. Notice it says convicted of any crime but by the unanimous verdict of a jury in open court. Oh, see, look right there. Except that a person accused of any criminal offense for which the state is not seeking. What do you mean the state is not seeking? The state is an inanimate object. It can't seek nothing. It can't even seek itself out of a wet paper bag because it doesn't exist. Something that doesn't exist in reality cannot stand. It cannot take the stand. It cannot speak, right? Not seeking a sentence of death in superior court may, in writing or on the record in the court and with the consent of the trial judge, waive jury trial. Subject to procedures prescribed by the General Assembly? I don't think so. The General Assembly may, however, provide for other means of trial for misdemeanors with the right of appeal for trial de novo. Boy, this all sounds fancy and real good, but that's not the law. And this is exactly where Article 6, Clause 2 comes in. Anything in the Constitution or law of the state contrary to the contrary is notwithstanding. This is the part we're talking about. I guarantee you, you go back to the original very first Bill of Rights for North Carolina, and you will not find that verbiage in there. I can guarantee it. This has been altered over time, a little bit here, a little bit there, or this whole section might have also been added. I'd like to find out who voted on that, who put that into place. Only the people can, right? Amended by the approval of North Carolina criminal. Really? Amended by the approval of North Carolina, criminal defendant may waive jury trial amendment. Can't do that. I mean, yeah, you can. You can put it in writing that you're waiving your right to a trial by jury and plead out outside of the court, right? You work something out. In all controversies at law respecting property, the ancient mode of, wait a minute, trial by jury, you got it right here, but then you call it right of jury trial here because it's a trial by jury. It's conflicting. Word salad again. It's one of the best securities of the rights of the people and shall remain sacred and inviolable. Right? You cannot void that right. It's a sacred right. That's right. I find all sorts of errors in here. There shall be no imprisonment for debt in the state except in cases of fraud. Excessive bail should not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. There you go. Treason against the state. Treason against the state shall consist in only levying war against it or adhering to its enemies by giving them aid. That would be adhering to the enemies, giving aid to our enemies. Declared acts of tyranny are known by tyrants. Anyone who does that is giving aid to our enemies. Those are our declared enemies. Those are declared acts of our enemies. You become an enemy as a tyrant. All right? Declaration of Independence. And that's where we're going to go next. Now that you got a pretty good idea of what goes here, right? And you have to look in your state statutes on this is the policy that, right, applies to them. Doesn't apply to you. It applies to them. So for me, 32-201 is the marriage contract. You don't have the right to convert that right into a privilege, license it, and attach a fee to it. Because marriage is a religious act protected by the First Amendment and the Ninth Amendment. Then these are the crimes, Title 18. So I'm going after the marriage contract. I'm going after shutting down the whole family court. All of it. All of domestic relations. They don't have the authority to make legislation regarding that. Natural rights and civil rights have nothing to do with the establishment, support, or management of government. Emoluments violations, 241, 242, and 643. That's your United States Code. Those are the felonies. Okay, 643, that's your emoluments. 241, acting under color of law, discrimination. Okay. Now, the part where I was just talking about tyrants, giving aid to our enemies, that's what this is. Okay. So you go to the Declaration of Independence and you go, what declared act of tyranny looks good right here that fits into my particular situation, no matter what it is. You know, this isn't just for family law, guys. This is for everything. This is to deal with bad policy or bad actors in government. Plain and simple, that's what remonstrance is about. Okay? It's a formal written protest. Declaring something that unlawful is about to happen or something unlawful has happened. That's what a protest is. You know, a formal written document. Protest is writing, not standing on the street corner. That's called picketing. That is not a protest. So this is what we put in right here. A couple of those declared acts of tyranny. So here's the next thing. Executive order. We're using this one for the family law stuff because this is nothing but, and it's not necessarily on human trafficking in the sense of sexual side of things. This is the debt slave, peonage, money, right? And I'll have to pull this out of here for others. This one here, I was informed, Chris was telling me the other day, this is about going after corporations. So this is another thing that would behoove all of us. When you come across document templates like this, and you see things like this, and like this, go look them up. Go look them up and see what it says so you know what's being said here. You can't just take a document template and go, yep, I'm filed, that's it, I did it, woohoo! No, you'll lose your ass when you go to court. Wherever you go, right? This is going into the court of justice in the House and the Senate. Okay? If you don't know, again, right back to episode 1, why I'm doing those episodes. If you don't know what your rights are, where they come from in law, how in the heck are you going to effectively defend them? You can't. Logically, fundamentally, principally, you can't. If you don't know, you can't. Plain and simple. So always go look this stuff up so you know what it says. Don't just take something for granted and go, yep, that's good, I'm going to file it. You get yourself in lots of trouble. Because when they start questioning you on it, well, what's this? Well, that's Title 32, Section 201, where the requirement for contract of marriage is a license. Marriage license is a contract. That's what it says. And you can't convert that right into a privilege license and attach a fee to it. I hereby abolish it. Why? Because you don't have jurisdiction over that subject matter. Congress shall make no law. What is it you don't comprehend about Congress shall make no law? Don't have that authority. And then whoever this report here is prepared by, right? Now I am an agent of E-clause, so I'm using the whole E-clause thing. Where are we at here? We're at 8 o'clock. Perfect. All right. So fundamentally, this is it. You put your name here. This is North Carolina already. Petition of Remonstrance under General Assembly Rules 5 and 33. You're going to look at your state constitution, and you're going to read the Article 1, the Bill of Rights, what we've gone over already, and you're going to itemize them. 1, 2, 9, 12, 20, 21. Okay? Depending on which ones that you can articulate and construe as being violated or that you're acting under, right? And if you haven't already read these, go read them. If you haven't read the Declaration of Independence, go read it. Comprehend it. If you haven't read this executive order, go read it. It's about serious human rights violations and corruption. Now, the public law section, blah, 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 that's all the same. Because that's the law regarding human trafficking. And QTAM, that's going in on others similarly situated. In fact, in mine, I should, right under here, and others similarly situated, but that's what QTAM actually means. I'm going in on behalf of others similarly situated. So whatever happens out of this, I'm doing this not just for myself, but for everybody, right? Now down here, right here, reus excipiendo fit actor, lex punit mendicam. These are Latin maxims of law. This one here, I believe it was this one. I believe this is the defendant by pleading or exception becomes the plaintiff, right? So you learn how to stop being the defendant and become the moving party. You become the petitioner, right? Lex punit mendicam, that is the law punishes falsehood. Imagine that. That one, yep. And that one, yep. And that one. Lex uno one more, that's something to do with about the law speaks with one mouth. I still haven't memorized these other ones here. I'm getting there. I have a hard enough time with the English language. I'm gonna try and frickin' learn a dead language, Latin. But all right. Let's see what we got going on here. All right. Oh, I don't know. Any questions here? I'm not going to try and go back through all of these questions, but hi, Neely. Got any specific questions? Malika's, yeah, in a sense here, right? So basically, we need to remind them that we, the people, are who authorize their rules, and all they can do is enforce it. Why the hell would why would we authorize them to war against us? We don't. We don't authorize them to war against us. We are to lay everything down in law, and the Constitution lays down the process and the subject matter jurisdiction that they have, right? Go take care of business, folks. What we're supposed to do is we're supposed to keep them in line. No, that's bad policy. You don't have that authority. Again, first fundamental principle of group decision making. You don't have jurisdiction over that subject matter. You know, that's the short and sweet of a 1-page, 2-page petition of remonstrance would be. Nope, you don't have that authority. You don't have that jurisdiction over that subject matter. Stop doing what you're doing now, or this will be articles of impeachment for treason. We'll remove you for duty for high crimes and treason. Just on one. Oh, now you're talking steak, huh, John? Heck yeah. What about your trial without a jury? Did you make the demand? Did you put it in writing? You demanded your right to a trial by a jury? No, probably not. Okay, you guys aren't asking specific questions to this right here. What was happening here today? Not your personal stuff. Questions on what we just covered. Because the rules of procedure tell you so, Cheryl. This is the problem. They prey on our ignorance, folks. You know, we're sitting here complaining, bitching, and complaining about how bad things are, but nobody wants to take the time to learn what their rights are. Nobody wants to take the time to learn and read what this says. I mean, there's not a whole lot of reading here to do. This is it. Anything that comes in conflict with this is null and void. It's all color of law. It's fake stuff, artificial. If you don't know this, you're screwed. That's the Constitution. That's my state constitution. That's the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States of America. No, the petition of remonstrance can be filed at any time because it says the right to peaceably assemble. That actually means to call the House into assembly, right? To consult for our common good and to instruct them. Session is for doing the bills, paying the bills. That's what I don't understand. We got to create some law here. No. Bill, it's what's in a word. And there shall be no bills of attainder. Right? Supposed to be paying the bills. Writing, here's the bill to pay for the sheriff in each county. This is what you get paid. We got to pay the bills here. This is to pay ourselves. This is to pay the governor. Here's another bill to pay the Secretary of State. Here's another bill to pay this. Here's another bill to pay that. Oh, we got to pay the transportation department for fixing the roads. There's the bill for that. That's paying the bills. I don't really quite comprehend where in the heck they think that they can create law. I just don't get it. I get a congressional act, but why would that be in the form of a bill? Shouldn't be in the form of a bill. I sure wish my cell phone bill came in the form of a congressional act, because I could just say, well, hey, no, it's a bill. I got to pay the bill. Okay, folks, you can't just go and blurt this stuff out in court. You can't just go blurt it out. You have to put it in writing. It has to be in writing, folks. In the form of an affidavit, a formal written declaration in the form of an affidavit of truth, signed under penalty of perjury, no matter what it is. If you're demanding your right to a trial by a jury, if you're demanding the Senate open up an investigation, write a scope document, you got to do it through a petition. You got to do it in writing, because that's how our form of government works. That's what's part of being about sui juris, perfectly capable of handling your administrative duties. You got to do this. You have to do this. Nobody can do this for you. Again, we're never going to get anywhere if we don't get people educated on what the law actually says, as it is written. The law, not their color of law. A formal written declaration, or a formal, not a formal affidavit, formal written declaration. You're declaring in the form of an affidavit of truth, right? You're making statements of facts on what is today, the 12th? 11th? Okay. On Monday, March 11th, 2019, the sun came up at 05:30. That would be a statement of fact if that was the correct time, depending on where you're at, right? That's a statement of facts. Short, sweet, concise statement of facts. That's why it has to be notarized, right? Affidavit signed under penalty of perjury and notarized. That's why we have a notary public. They are an officer of the state. They have their stamp that they put on there. Oh, dang it. Going great in the beginning, and then I got lost a bit as everything got greatly expounded upon. Don't hammer me, just being honest. How would you get lost? When we got to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights part, going into this particular section here, I teach you how to do the cover page. So when you get into this part right here, you have to dig into your Bill of Rights for your state, because that's the law. So that's what I did is I went over North Carolina's Bill of Rights, the law for North Carolina, right? And showed you how to read through there and where to come up with these specific numbers that you're going to write. What sections of Article 1 of your state constitution did they violate? Or that you're claiming your rights under? Your right to petition in the form of remonstrance, right? That gets included in here. What your rights are, right? All of these are your rights, that they're bound by the employment contract not to trespass. Right? We can use all this to disqualify every and all judges on current cases going on. Well, see, the thing is it's not about disqualifying judges. Petition of remonstrance is going into the legislature. You're telling on them. You're telling on them that they have trespassed the law. You were taught in grade school that you go to the principal or you go to this teacher to tell on somebody, right? That's what I'm trying to teach you right here. Go tell on them in the proper place, in the legislature, in the form of a formally written protest. And why can't you put your thumbprint on there? Because you're not an officer of the state. That's why you have to have a notary stamp on there. They're the officer of the state. You're going into the legislature. Exactly, Chad. People seek help when they need help. Oop, where did it go? By then, it is usually too late to learn what they need to. I have seen this in many groups by following very knowledgeable people. What happens is the teachers, where'd it go? Get frustrated because they can't answer all, which is why I advocate for picking a few people. Oh, dang it. Which is also I advocate for picking a few people to teach, then let them help a few, then them help a few more. There is too much corruption happening, too many people, and the learned ones can't keep up and ends up overwhelming. None of us can do it all. Right. I mean, I've got message after message after message. Please help me. Here's my story. I can't. This is why I'm right here, right now, to educate you how to do this for yourself. Because there's just not enough hours in a day, not enough hours in a week, not enough hours in a month, not enough hours in a year to help every single one of you on an individual basis. It is literally impossible. Can't do it. I'm one heck of a multitasker, but that's near impossibility. So that is the reason why I do what I do here. Okay. Well, that's the thing. When you do it under key tam, you're doing it for others similarly situated. So that's it. You know, bringing people in doesn't really need to be brought in. It just is. These are facts of law. That's what you're going after, right? You're going after facts of law. Here's the law. Here's what they're doing. That's unlawful. We got to do something about that. You're about to make this in simple format for every state? What are you talking about, Shannon? I don't know. No. Key tam is doing it on behalf of others. Well, I don't know if you're talking about a petition of remonstrance being in simple format, but that's what this whole class was about tonight. Showing you the simple format, what we've already been doing for almost 3 years. At least Chris has. 17, all of 17, all of 18, and now into 19. So two plus years. So All right, there isn't any other questions on specifically this petition of remonstrance and how to do that. I'm going to go ahead and end the live. All right. Much love, folks. We'll see you on Wednesday night. And for those of you that would like to make a personal private donation to me for providing these classes, I have to pay for Zoom. It's $55 a month to pay my cell phone bill, all that stuff. I would greatly appreciate your support. Help keep things going over here and making this all happen. So if you can make a personal private donation to me through PayPal, that's kirk_pendergrass@hotmail.com. If you want to send me a postal money order, cashier's check, anything like that, personal check, cash, you can send that to the office, 6477 West Fairview Avenue, Suite C, Charlie, Boise, Idaho 83705. So much love to you folks out there. Just doing what I can to help educate. Right? We'll talk soon, John. Have a good night. We'll see you Wednesday night.